Hello and welcome to Channel's Book Club. I am Olakule Kasumo. This is usually the week when work resumes for a lot of people after the New Year's break. So if you are one of those resuming this week, Happy New Year. Our crew is committed to serving you better this year, so we look forward to you tuning in every week to enjoy this show. As we get into 2018, a year of politics in Nigeria, let's keep in mind that to truly become a great nation, we must become a reading people. We must value the treasures, wisdom, knowledge, and power hidden in books. We must place the highest priority on education and remember that books are the building blocks of learning. We must invest in our intellectual institutions, our schools, our libraries, our learning establishments, and so on. We must support writers and celebrate writing. The old sayings, readers are leaders and knowledge is power, have never been truer than now. If Nigeria will change, Nigerians must change. And if Nigerians will change, Nigerians must read and value learning. This is what we are about on this program, and this is hopefully what we will keep promoting this year. Please join us. To get started today, let's introduce to you a compelling crime fiction writer. His name is Leye Adenle, and he is the author of a book that has made our top Nigerian Books of the Year lists. It's titled Easy Motion Tourist. It's a fascinating edge-of-the-seat crime novel set primarily in Nigeria. We caught up with Leye to discuss his novel, his writing, and his thoughts on a few other related issues. Leye, thank you for your time. It's nice to be with you.
Thank you. Thank you for taking the time to talk to me.
How did you get into writing? And your book, Easy Motion Tourist, is a crime thriller novel. How or why did you get into that genre?
All right. Would it surprise you for me to say that when I started writing the book, I didn't think I was writing a crime thriller. I was just writing a book about a particular kind of violence against women, which is what I wanted to talk about. And then it came out by itself as a crime thriller. Yesterday on a panel discussion, I mentioned to a gentleman that if you took away all the shootings and all the killings in it, then you'd get just a dramatic story, a drama rather, about this particular kind of violence. To answer how I started writing, I've been writing for as long as I can remember. In school, when I'm supposed to be listening to the teacher, I'll be writing in the back of my notebook, which is why I was a very bad student and I performed poorly in school for a long time. But I've always been consumed by this desire to write, and I think it was born out of being surrounded by books all through my childhood and people who had written. For instance, I'm named after my grandfather, who himself was a writer, who published 2 books in Yoruba, and one of them was a didactic poem which he had written. And when you have that kind of background and people like that around you, and you grow up surrounded by books, it's only natural that they would fascinate you. And for me, I think I just found a lot of escape. I don't know what from the boredom of daily life. I found escape in books. I'm sure you remember how we used to have to wait till 4 o'clock for the TV station to come on. I mean, what are you doing as a child from then till 4, you know? We didn't have the internet. We didn't have Twitter, Facebook, and all of that to distract us. We had to wait until the TV stations come on so we can watch some cartoon. And then that's if NEPA doesn't take the light. But in books, I found my entertainment. And I think after a while, you start feeling, I could write that. And that's how I came to write.
For those who are unfamiliar with your novel, Easy Motion Tourist, what's the book about?
Easy Motion Tourist. It's about a lady called Amaka. Amaka lives in Lagos. She runs a charity that looks out for sex workers because, you know, sex work is illegal in Nigeria. Her charity, called the Street Samaritans, gives them education, legal representation if they need it, financial support, stuff like that. That is what she does officially. Secretly, she keeps a record of the men in Lagos who use prostitutes. The girls themselves give her the details that populates and refreshes her database. Now, when a girl is about to be picked up by a man she's never seen before. She can send the plate number of the man's car and text it to Amaka before getting in with the person, so that Amaka will check on her records for what, if any, information she has on the person. And this way, she can keep the girls safe by telling them, it tends to be rough, be careful, or you can charge him this much, or he likes taking 2 women at a time, so look for a friend so that you're not left with him with a stranger. But more importantly, she can tell them, don't go. Because there are people on her database that men have picked up before and they've never been seen again. In a country like Nigeria, where our belief in the Abrahamic religions run side by side with local religious practices, and where a lot of people have taken their cue from the wealthy pastors and they now practice the traditional medicine of wealth, these people peddle a lot of money sacrifices or power sacrifices, and a lot of them require human blood, human sacrifice. Who would make a better victim than a prostitute whose death would not be investigated? Amaka's fear is for the day a girl will turn up dead because she did not warn them. My story begins on that day.
Can you please provide an insight into how your mind works as a writer in terms of perhaps how you create scenarios in your writings, or how you craft characters, if I may use the word craft? So how does your mind work? Take us through that.
How my mind works when I'm writing a character. I believe that when you write a character, the way you can write a character truthfully is to know them. So you can cheat and just use a character you know, someone you actually know in real life, or you can allow a character to become real in you. I often say, or the way I think about writers is, we're very high-functioning schizophrenics. You know, we can create this other selves in us, this entities that exist as whole human beings with their own backstories, and have an interaction with them safely, you know, and it's almost like you are reporting their lives. I mean, I'm writing the second book now. The second book in the Amaka series is going to be called When Trouble Sleeps, and Amaka does some things that just scares me. You know, it's almost like I have no control over what she does, and why should I? You know, why should I have any control? And she does whatever she wants, and sometimes I'm like, you don't enter hot water. How are you going to get out of this? And even I am eager to find out the next time. And this is how I'm able to write characters. I get to know them. I bring it down to empathy, you know, feel for your characters, feel for what they're doing. For instance, I'm going to try and see if I can find a character, a passage